Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Westcott. I'm a Principal Program Manager with Microsoft's Cloud and Enterprise Threat Protection Division. And today we're going to be talking about the new security API that we released this week at RSA, and a little bit about how to get started working with the API and building applications using it. The whole point of this API is around integration. So today it's very hard for companies who have a lot of security applications to integrate all those applications into their workflows for their security operations center. Even at Microsoft, we have about 9 different security products. Each of those products has their own set of APIs. In some cases, they don't have APIs. This API that we're releasing this week is going to be the one API to rule them all, so to speak. Behind this API is going to sit all of the security products that we deliver as a company. And we're also announcing that we're integrating third-party security products into this API as well. So if you've got Palo Alto Networks, you're an Anomaly customer, you're a Secure Terrain customer from PwC, they've already done proof of concept integrations with this API. And as we get further on towards general availability, you'll see more and more third parties come on board. What are we trying to accomplish with this API? Obviously, everybody knows we have a problem around security alerts. They all come in different schemas. They all have different APIs to connect. Very difficult to get them out of the system where they originate and into the system where you want to work with them. This is the API that's going to solve that problem. The other problem that we know security investigators have is that when you're working with a security alert, for example, you have an account, a machine, an IP address, a network connection that are part of the security alert. And you really don't have a lot of context about the business value of that machine or that person. You don't even know if this is a real person or if this is some kind of system account. That business context and that other security context is actually available as part of Microsoft Graph already in a lot of cases. It's the same API. It's Microsoft Graph API. It's got all of your Office workloads in it. It's got your Active Directory workloads in it. This security API that we're introducing is just an extension of Microsoft Graph. So it's very easy to develop an application that works with alerts and also pulls in other business contexts. So a security responder is not only going to have the alert, but they're going to immediately see much more information about the objects within this alert. Another thing that we're trying to do is do something we call democratized remediation. Right now, even at Microsoft, if we want to do something as simple as reset somebody's password, a security responder says, Jason's account looks like it might be compromised. I need to take an action on that. They can't do that themselves. They have to engage another team, open a ticketing system, cut a ticket, there's an SLA, a lot of process involved. It's really cumbersome. Security responders should be able to take actions to remediate things. This API is going to allow that to happen. And what we're going to do is have a common language that all of the security products speak. So it's very easy to do automation and remediation activities programmatically against these applications. And we'll dive into how that's done. So I know this is a bit of an eye chart, but just if you look across the top, what we're talking about is all of the Microsoft security products are behind this API. So you talk to this API on a Microsoft Graph, and you can actually talk to all of the security products. And again, the ecosystem partners are a huge part of this. We know that there's nobody out there that has a 100% pure Microsoft service security operations center. Just not possible. So we want third parties, we want the products and services that you use in your companies to be available through this API as well. The whole point is that this API should be the way that you integrate one time and you don't have to do any more work after that. We use the standard OAuth protocols that the Microsoft Graph uses. So very basic there. We have lots of different SDKs. We have currently a Python and a C# sample application that I'll be showing you later. It's available on GitHub. You can download it, run it yourself, so you can get started with this API very easily. As I said, we've announced this week that the API is available in public preview as of Monday. We have a few marquee customers, or partners, that we're working with. Palo Alto, Anomaly, and PricewaterhouseCoopers are all over at the booth. We've got an Intelligent Security Graph booth just around the corner. You can see the integrations, the solutions that they've built on this API already, even though it's in public preview. what kind of things can you build? Obviously, this is a security API. You can build any kind of dashboard that works with security alerts and business context to pull in. But more importantly, if you've already got an application that deals with security, or even if you've got a business application, you can extend it with this API to start pulling in security data into your business applications. So it doesn't have to be a from the ground up. This API is available to extend existing applications as well. Anomaly is a great example of that. They've got their Anomaly Enterprise, which is very TI-centric, of course. They've extended it to communicate with this API and pull in just the alerts that have indicator matches with their threat intelligence. So let's look at some code. This session is all about building applications with the API, so let's talk about how we actually do that. We're not going to be actually coding here, but I will show you some examples. Working with alerts. This is a federated system. What that means is that you call the API as an application. You don't even have to know what security solutions the customer has. You call and you say, get alerts. Every single security product that's behind this API is going to respond and say, here's the alerts that I have for your customer. Very easy. We've got an example of the syntax here from the C# SDK. We have the RESTful call here. Very easy, just security/alerts. The other thing this API is it's not just a read API. One of the problems people have is that they have alerts that come from something like Azure Security Center. They'll pull those alerts out into another system, a ticketing system, and they'll work with that alert. They'll assign that alert to somebody. They'll change the alert to resolved. Everything looks great. And then somebody else will go to the Azure Security Center portal, and lo and behold, it's red. It says new alert. Doesn't say that anybody's ever looked at it. Well, this API is going to allow that to be a problem of the past. We're working with partners who have solutions like I just described, and they're going to be using this API to write back. So as soon as you assign it to somebody, Azure Security Center is going to reflect that it's actually been assigned and is being worked on. So the consistency of all the different dashboards that you work on, because we all know there really is no one pane of glass to rule them all. Wouldn't that be nice? But we're not there yet. The other thing we released on Monday is a connector for Azure Monitor. For those that aren't familiar with Azure Monitor, it is a streaming solution to get massive amounts of data out of Azure. So if you've got logs for your web roles or your Azure storage, you can pump them through Azure Monitor into Event Hubs, and people like Splunk and QRadar, Loggly, these already have connectors for Azure Monitor to pull the data out in a streaming fashion and get them into your SIEM system. Well, all of the security alerts that are available through this RESTful API are also now available through Azure Monitor. So with a simple one-time configuration, your tenant, you specify, I want all my security alerts from all my products to go to Azure Monitor, and the connectors that already exist today know how to read it, and they will ingest into those connectors today. So pretty exciting stuff. Remember I talked about business context. This is what we call security inventory. So all of these systems, think about Windows Defender, monitoring thousands of hosts for a big enterprise. That Windows Defender ATP knows a lot about every machine. It knows who's logged on in the last 30 days, what versions of all the binaries are on that machine, the certificate versions. All of that stuff is readily available in the security system itself. We're going to make those available in these entities we call security profiles in the API. So if you're working with an alert related to a machine 71, nobody knows what it is, simply make another call for the host security profile for that machine. And again, because this is a federated system, every single security service that knows about, in this case, Jane Doe Surface Pro, is going to answer. Maybe not just Defender, but Intune, Cloud App Security, what cloud applications has that machine been logging into. Each security service is going to respond what they know about that with a simple call from the application developer's perspective. They don't even have to care who's behind it. Again, if you've got a file hash, you want to know who's seen this file in my entire organization, simply make a call like this. Very easy to get a response. Common compliance scenarios. If you want to know what operating system you're running in your entire environment, very easy to do. Simple call to the API. Keep in mind security inventory. Every entity that is represented by a security, host security profile, file security profile, has its own ID. Okay, so when we talk about actions, automating security response, those IDs come into play there. This API, again, is not just a read API, it's a write API. So we can ask the API to actually do some things for us. In this case, we're saying this particular host security profile with this ID, I would like the provider of Microsoft Cloud Application Security to take an action. In this case, I want to restrict that server from accessing OneDrive. Maybe we think it's compromised. So this post request that we're doing to the RESTful API always require an ID of a security inventory entity and a provider that we want to take that action. And then, of course, each provider is going to have its own unique set of actions that it exposes. You can think about identity protection, offering things like resetting passwords, invalidating security tokens, so the next time somebody tries to log on, they have to re-authenticate. You can think about cloud application security, obviously restricting things around access to certain clouds. You can think about Windows Defender invoking things like isolating a machine using the Windows firewall, running an antivirus scan, resetting the machine. Azure Security Center can re-image something. Each provider, again, will have its own set of unique actions. Configuration works much the same way. Configuration is a post request to a namespace. We call it security/configuration. And again, we're asking a particular provider to take a particular action. But in this case, instead of acting upon a piece of inventory, we're saying we would like to change something about the service itself. We'd like to change a security policy, or we'd like to maybe add somebody to an administrator group for a security service so that we have a new security responder to add to that group. So in this case, we're saying Intune, we'd like to modify one of the policies around iOS 8, or iOS phones. We'd like to say that the lock screen should not show sensitive information when the phone is locked. Very easy to do. You post this request, and Intune is going to change that policy. So think about the kind of larger knobs and dials that each security service has in their UI. These are the kind of things that are going to be available through the configuration API. A couple more examples here. Security Center, automating provisioning the monitoring agent, for example, or changing policies around AAD identity protection. When somebody's identified as a particular risk level, what policy do we want to enact? And in this case, we're saying, let's require a password change. So let's look at an example. This is the application that we actually have available today. This is not anything that we're ever going to sell. This is just something that our team who writes the API coded up to make it easy for you to see what kinds of things you can do with the API today. Again, we're in private preview right now, or excuse me, public preview. So all of you can play with the API, but right now we're talking about security alerts as the thing that we want to take a look at. So you can go to GitHub today, and we'll have links at the bottom where you can download this application. We have a Python version, and we have a C# version. And so basically, the top shows, you can query for alerts. In this case, we're going to say we want the top alert from all of our providers. You can specify which providers. You can see the different security products that, in this case, this demonstration has behind it. And we're going to say we're going to go ahead and get alerts. And we're going to call the API. And I waited so long that I timed out, so we have to re-authenticate. And so the call that we're making, our developer has put in the code that they're actually calling here. The C# code using the SDK is right there, and the native REST call is right underneath it. And of course, because I had to log in, it didn't actually return. So you can see we're getting alerts from different security services, and I need to actually look at my screen so I can do this. You can see we've got Windows Defender, Intune, Palo Alto. Each service returned their top alert. Top in this case means the most recent alert, not necessarily the most important. But you can filter. I only want to see a particular provider. I only want to see a particular severity. I could say I only want to query for alerts that have a given user in them. These kinds of things are super easy to do. The SDK makes it super simple with the IntelliSense, the REST API, native call. Anybody who's familiar with REST or OData knows how to do these filter statements fairly simple. If you want to see the details of the alert, you can come over here. And these alerts are always returning JSON payload. Again, the nice thing is that every single security product, regardless of what it is, if it sits behind this API, it returns the same JSON. So correlating alerts between different products becomes super, super easy. It's a very rich taxonomy. We have lots of different states. Depending on the alert type, the product will fill out different pieces of this. But for example, in this case, we've got the user states. We'll have one or more of these. In this case, the user Aldom is represented with the IP address when they logged on, et cetera, et cetera. We've got the information of the vendor that provided this. This was information protection or identity protection from Microsoft. If it's married to any threat intelligence, you'll see that at the bottom. So lots of great stuff. The other things you can do alerts, like I mentioned, is with this application is we can change it. We can post back and say, we've actually resolved this alert, or marked it as in progress. I can say this is a true positive, looks bad. I can update that alert. This is actually writing it back through the API so that the original product that sent it will get that notification. This application just kind of spits out what we've done. We've reassigned it. It's got the old and the new values in here. You can do subscriptions through this API. So if you would like to know notifications for anything to do with a particular user, whenever an alert comes in with this user, you can get notified. So I would subscribe to that notification. The subscription details are listed over here. And what that means is that if I set up a listener, the security graph is actually going to call back whenever there's an alert for this particular user or any change to an alert for this particular user. And I'll be notified, and I need to make a call back and actually get the alert. We don't return the payload. We just return a notification that something's changed. So you have to go fetch it. So with that, let's switch back to the PowerPoint. We have everything documented out there on these web pages. I encourage you to take photos if you like. Although this is being recorded, and you can always go back to YouTube once this is posted. We've got plenty of documentation about the API, which tells you how to call the RESTful endpoint. All of the different entity types are listed. We've got sample code, as I mentioned, in Python and C# for the application you just saw. It's got the full authentication libraries in it, so you'll be able to take care of that without any troubles. And we've got a tech community where we're staffed to answer any questions that you have when you're trying to use the API as a developer. So I encourage you to sign up for the tech community, post your questions, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. And that's about it. So, if I have any questions, I encourage all of you to go take a peek, download this. Go to that top URL. You've got a great sheet that talks about it, and enjoy. Thank you very much.